What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Crypto Sherpa Show, where I read you those cryptocurrency news articles to keep you informed on what's going on in that crypto space. And yeah, sorry for being a little bit late today. Just another busy morning. Took on a morning meeting, and then right before I was about to come on here, two people walked through the door, and it's like, what a day for my assistant not to be here, right? So yeah, it's always busy here, always fun, and I hope everyone had a great weekend. It was nice and chill for me here. Nice little drive, explored Florida a bit, went to Arcadia, so it's like about 40 minutes down. It's always still fun here, so hopefully everyone had a good weekend too. But what's going on in the crypto space? Of course, we got news that Michael Saylor bought another 4,980 Bitcoin. We got news that MetaPlanet acquired another 1,000, surpassing them, making them the fifth highest Bitcoin corporate holder out there. So that news is always coming on down the place. But we also got news on actually what's been going on in June. There's been a lot of adoption going on, even though the hash rate's down for Bitcoin is down 15%, but we've had at least 26 extra new firms start adding Bitcoin to their balance sheets and whatnot. So we're going to go through those charts. We got also in the news Trump talking about how Bitcoin takes a lot of pressure off the US dollar. So we're here what he has to say. He spoke about that during last Friday's press conference. We have another country establishing a national crypto reserve, and that's Kazakhstan. And I believe I covered an article around this, but this was just a blowing up news, so I guess there's more updates on that. And then we got a couple other news articles for you. So let's just dive right on into the news and learn about what's been going on in June. So yes, Bitcoin's hash rate is down 15%, but 26 firms have added Bitcoin to their balance sheets. So this is June in the charts. Bitcoin's adoption grew considerably in June, with 26 firms adding it to their balance sheets. Meanwhile, Bitcoin's hash rate fell 15%. So this month, Bitcoin's hash rate dropped 15% amid a summer heat wave that stressed the United States electricity grid. Now, crypto hacks and exploits have racked up record numbers, costing investors and platforms $150 million in June alone. Now, moreover, businesses have followed the example of vocal Bitcoin proponents and strategy executive chairman Michael Saylor by adding Bitcoin to their balance sheets. According to an industry tracking service, there are now 250 companies out there that have some form of Bitcoin in their treasury. Now, we also got regulators in Asia are softening their stance on crypto with new laws, carving out crypto tax exemptions and permissions for stablecoin issuance, as well in 4 different countries out there, including Hong Kong, South Korea, who are the other ones? Japan, or Philippines? We'll go through the charts later. Now, in the U.S., legislation has moved forward on state level, with 10 states working on laws to include crypto in their commercial code established, and Bitcoin reserves, and further study on how it could affect their state's economy. Now, here is June by the numbers. So Bitcoin's hash rate is down 15%. So the hash rate of Bitcoin's network is the measure of the total computational power on the Bitcoin blockchain. Now, it saw a significant dip of 15% on the month, starting the month around 942.6 million terahashes a second. Now, the current rate is 799 million terahashes a second, and this is a sharp drop, left observers speculating about the possible reason behind this decrease, which was the steepest drop in Bitcoin hash rate seen in years. So what did really happen to it? Here's that chart of it. So we're usually at the 940, so what brought it all the way down? Well, while some speculated that the possible reason could be Israel's attack on Iran, which have targeted critical infrastructures, including those Iran could use to mine Bitcoin, and the connection is weak now because of that. Now, the hash rate was already in decline, and the US, which has significantly more mining activity, has been experiencing electricity prices spikes due to its first summer heat wave. Also, increased demand for cooling will see prices increase and spare capacity disappear, which could lead to miners operating on thin margins to flip the switch on their operations still cool. So that's kind of a reason why our hash rate could be down. We had Iran, we had heat waves in America. So there's many little factors out there that could have brought down the hash rate, but they will usually come back. Also, in June, we've seen the cost of crypto hacks grew to 150 million. So there's been a lot more crypto hacks going out there. I usually covered at least many of them in many of these news article videos. But crypto hacks are getting more advanced. In June, 150 million was lost to hacks and exploits. Losses in June bring the total amount of crypto lost in hacks and exploits this year up $2.15 billion, according to a report by TRM Labs. Now, this is 500 million higher than the same time frame in 2024. Now here's a chart showcasing the record numbers of exploits grown. Now here's the chart. So let's see, 2022 was this light blue one. Wow, that one had the most hacks going on right now. So 2025 is kind of mirroring 2022. 2024 had a steady growth, which is higher than 2023. So who knows? We could be poised to see a higher hacks growth. So hopefully people will start understanding how to keep their crypto safe, learn how to view a scam out there, so that way they just don't fall for them. But that number looks like it's growing year over year. But according to TRM Infrastructure's attacks, including private keys and seed phrase thefts, and as well as front-end compromises, made up around 80% of the losses in 2025. So these are people who willingly basically gave up their seed phrase. They fell for someone emailing them, letting them know, hey, there's a compromise or a wallet here, go to this site, input your seed phrase, we'll keep it safe. So that really took up 80% of all the hacks out there. So be careful. Now, corresponding protocol attacks like the target, i.e. they attack vulnerabilities in blockchain protocols like smart contracts or core logic, including flash loan and re-entrancy attacks, made up 12% of those losses. And TRM drew special attention to escalating strategic intent for state actors and other geopolitical motivated groups, which it state requires more collaboration and the need to reinforce fundamental security, multi-factor authentication, cold storage, and frequent audits. Now, going on into this chart, 250 businesses are holding Bitcoin on their balance sheets now. So that is huge adoption going forward. So this is a growing number of companies that are adding Bitcoins to their balance sheets after seeing the success of software company strategy. Some 26 companies have added the asset to their balance sheet, bringing the total number of companies with Bitcoin in their treasuries up to 250. Now here is that chart showcasing that. We got custodians, contracts, funds, 12 governments on here. Companies, there's around 140, and more companies, there's probably bigger ones, 40 as well. Now, Michael Saylor has pioneered the idea of putting Bitcoin on the company's balance sheet. Strategy stock has since evolved into a proxy instrument for investors to get exposure to Bitcoin. Now, Saylor's tactic of issuing debt to fund these Bitcoin purchases has gained ground. Strategy's company stock price, despite increased issuance, has continued to grow in June. MicroStrategy stock MSTR gained 6%, so it's still not slowing down. Now, not all observers are convinced of the strategy. A June report from venture capital firm Breed stated that few Bitcoin treasury companies will last. The firm posted a 7-step cycle triggered by the hypothetical Bitcoin price crash and culminating in Bitcoin liquidity and market panic. So who was this? This VC firm Breed state is picturing that we're still going to have our normal cycles. We're going to have a huge crash or dip that's going to take Bitcoin back down to probably $70,000, $50,000 after we experience an all-time high. And that's going to shake out all these treasury people. So that's what he's stating that he feels is going to happen. Is if we have experienced that, these companies won't have the balls to hold on to it. Sorry for that explanation of it, but he just doesn't believe that's so. But again, he's going off of a hypothetical that people aren't going to be strong enough, or these companies aren't going to be strong enough to hold. Which, again, if we have a dip, they might be. I would agree. They might not be strong enough. Only some will hold on to it. But I don't feel we're going to have a huge dip like we usually have, just because, again, we're in uncharted territory. I'm not going off previous cycles anymore because we're not following it. So I'm just seeing what happens as we go forward. But that's what VC firm Breed says. Now let's continue on with more charts of how 4 countries across Asia make carve-outs for crypto. So Asian countries are adopting Bitcoin as well. Now we got 4 different jurisdictions across Asia that's made crypto-friendly policies in June. We got Thailand. The cabinet, the primary organ of the executive branch of the government, approved a proposal from the Ministry of Finance to exempt crypto from capital gains tax until December 31st, 2029. So here's that crypto adoption in the 4 countries. We got South Korea, Hong Kong, Thailand, and Malaysia. So 4 big countries really adopting Bitcoin. Now, in South Korea, newly elected President Lee Jae-myung's rulings that the Democratic Party proposed the Digital Asset Basic Act to fulfill a campaign promise to allow stablecoin issuance. The bill would allow companies with at least $368,000 in equity capital to issue stablecoins, as well as provide refund guarantees. Now, on June 20th, the governor of South Korea's central bank said that he wasn't opposed to the issuance of a won-based stablecoin, saying that issuing won-based stablecoins could make it easier to exchange them with dollars and stablecoins rather than working to reduce use of a stablecoin dollar. Now, Malaysia has launched a regulatory sandbox called the Digital Asset Innovation Hub, while in Hong Kong, security regulators are working on a framework that would allow crypto derivatives trading for professional investors. Now, yeah, stablecoins have been really on the rise too. I think with South Korea speaking about having a stablecoin won, I have a news article later on going to be going how they're putting a pause on CBDCs because everyone's so focused on stablecoins right now. It just makes a little bit more sense. So they might not end up. So we might start getting news that CBDCs are dunzos because we already got word in the United States that we don't want it here. Other countries are still working on theirs and whatnot. But as we shift to more stablecoin issuance out there and regulatory issues, or as we more friendly stablecoin policies and everything, it just seems like governments prefer stablecoins over a CBDC. They're practically the same thing, but we're seeing that change happen right now. Now, in more adoption news in June, we've had 5 major crypto firms get licenses worldwide. So crypto adoption at the government level is growing, but this also means there are new and evolving licensing frameworks that crypto businesses like exchanges need to secure to stay in business and enter the new markets. In June, 5 major crypto businesses secured licenses in different jurisdictions. Let's see, here they are. Coinbase Exchange got a jurisdiction in the EU with an MiCA license. BitGet, the exchange, got one in Georgia, which is an exchange operator / wallet provider. Gemini got one in EU as well, same as Coinbase. Same with Kraken as well. We got MoonPay, a payments platform, got some jurisdiction in the US with a Bit license. And then lastly, we got Ant Group FinTech with Hong Kong, Singapore, and stablecoin issuance. So there's been a lot of more licensing going on in the crypto space. Now again, Coinbase, Gemini, and Kraken all secured their licenses under the EU, under Markets and Crypto Assets, the MiCA regulatory framework. The certification will allow them to serve clients in the European markets. Now, BitGet secured a license in the Caucasian country of Georgia, while crypto payments-related firm MoonPay scored a Bit license from New York State regulators in the US. Now, fintech firm Ant Group and e-commerce giant JD.com are looking for certifications related to stablecoins. Ant Group indicated that it is currently seeking license in Hong Kong and Singapore, while JD.com founder Liu Qingdong announced a broad global certification push to enter the stablecoin space. Now, it's not just clear yet for where JD.com is seeking licensure, but they have announced that they do want it. Now, going on a state level in the US, we have at least 7 states pass crypto-related laws in the US. So while the crypto industry was able to count a victory at the federal level this month, with the Genius Act passing the Senate on June 17th, 7 states have made headway on their crypto-related lawmaking. Now, we have in progress right now California, Arizona, Maine, Ohio, Illinois, Pennsylvania, New Jersey, Rhode Island, New York, and Texas. At least 10 states in progress. So far passed, we got Colorado, Connecticut, Louisiana, Oregon, Rhode Island, and Texas. So there have been at least 6 states that have been passed or enacted. We have Louisiana, which was introduced. Florida failed to get it through, but it's still working. And here is a mapping of it. So we got Texas in the work, Louisiana, Florida didn't pass, but I believe the yellow one, so Oregon, Colorado, Texas is mixed lines, same with Louisiana, Connecticut, and Rhode Island. I think we even have New Hampshire in there too. So where would New Hampshire be on here? No, but I know New Hampshire has 1 license. So this chart is just a little bit outdated because we covered news articles. I read it. We saw it. We saw it take place. So New Hampshire is another one on there. But Oregon amended state laws about abandoned property to include cryptocurrencies. Colorado has done the same, while also enacting a law that requires crypto ATM owners to disclose certain information to customers as well as provide refunds in case of fraud. We got Texas Governor Greg Abbott signed the state's Bitcoin reserve bill into law while enacting a law that requires crypto to be forfeited if it is related to a misdemeanor or felony. Louisiana has set up a licensing structure for crypto kiosk providers while also establishing a subcommittee to study blockchain and crypto artificial intelligence. We got Connecticut has updated money transmission rules and requirements to include crypto, especially crypto kiosks, and has introduced license requirements for the same. Neighboring Rhode Island has also introduced standards for crypto ATMs, as well as created a special legislative commission to study the blockchain cryptocurrencies. Now, Florida seems less eager to pass crypto kiosk rules with the H0319, a bill requiring Bitcoin kiosks to register with the Office of Financial Regulators, died in the committee, so that just got shut down, but they can always come on back. But that is everything going on with adoption-wise so far. That took quite a bit of time to cover that news. Yeah, so we have just our hash rate was down a bit, but that's cool. That was partly because of Iran escalated heat wave surges, so you gotta shut down the miners to preserve energy. But hash rate will definitely come back. That was just a major thing that happened to world economics, everything around the world. We got more companies and businesses, at least 26 different companies adding to a Bitcoin strategy going on. We got 4 Asian countries with their own rules and regulations going in place. More states are acquiring more laws and rules and regulation for crypto, and then 5 major exchanges out there have some more licensing. But that is everything going on for June. Can't wait to see what July brings us. And yeah, so that took quite a bit of time. I think we should take a quick commercial break before we go over our next news articles for you. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed those, just those brief little facts about what's been going on this last month. And I am really just laid back right now. So let us play a quick ad and we'll be right back after these messages.
Attention visionaries and pioneers, the future of wealth is here, and it's spelled Bitcoin, Bitcoin. Introducing the exclusive Loans for Bitcoin program at the Bitcoin Ben Crypto Club, where your good credit unlocks 0% interest loans for up to 2 years, or term loans up to $250,000 spread over 7 to 12 years. Why wait? Use this capital to acquire the world's fastest appreciating asset, Bitcoin. With prices hovering around 94,000 and projections aiming much higher by the year's end, the time to act is now. Leverage isn't just for Wall Street anymore. Arbitrage the low cost of your loan against Bitcoin's explosive growth. It's smart finance for the modern investor. And privacy matters. Our no KYC Bitcoin purchase program ensures you buy and self-custody your assets in your own wallet. Your keys, your Bitcoin, your future. And as the world shifts to digital currencies, be ahead of the curve. Front-run corporations, governments, in this greatest financial revolution of our times. I'm Jay Bose, CEO of Bitcoin Ben Crypto Club. Call or text us today at 941-413-6920 and get started on that loan application. Secure your legacy. You will thank yourself tomorrow.
And we're back, and we are bringing you some breaking news. I was scrolling on my phone, saw a Twitter post from Bitcoin Magazine, but it looks like this is just in. Senator Cynthia Lummis said that she is working on an amendment to allow Americans to use Bitcoin and crypto without fear of tax violation. And that would be amazing, because why would we have to worry about spending some crypto on that coffee, that piece of bubble gum, or lunch or dinner, and go, oh, what's the capital gains tax I got to worry about? So this is what she tweeted. America leads in financial innovation, and thanks to President Trump, we are keeping it that way. I am working on an OBBB amendment to ensure Americans can use digital assets without fear of tax violations. More coming soon, so way to go. I love this team we have in the office right now. It's been an amazing year since November, and just all the changes we've got. Again, like we saw with the adoption rate, just the states alone, at least 5 or 6, 7 different states with 10 or 11 still in the works. It's like we've never had this, and like my experience with crypto so far in the 5, 6 years I've been involved with it. So I'm loving everything going on. So way to go, Cynthia Lummis. Now let's hear about Donald Trump, what he has to say though about Bitcoin taking a lot of pressure off of the dollar. Now he talked about this in last Friday's press conference or something, but yeah, like Bitcoin does help the dollar and help us keep in like power. But let's go through this and hear what he has to say. So President Donald Trump is backing Bitcoin, calling it a vital American asset that the US must continue to dominate. So So today, former President Donald Trump, today President Donald Trump has voiced strong supports for Bitcoin and the broader crypto industry, calling it a vital American asset that the US must continue to dominate. Now, here is that tweet from Bitcoin Magazine just in. Donald Trump said Bitcoin takes a lot of pressure off the dollar and it's a great thing for our country. Now, let's just hear how he says it.
It's a very funny thing, crypto. So I became a fan of crypto, and to me, it's an industry. I view it as an industry, and I'm president. And if we didn't have it, China would, or somebody else would, but most likely China. China would love to. And we've dominated that industry. It's a big industry, by the way. In fact, when the stock market went down recently, crypto and Bitcoin and all of that went down much less than anybody else as a group. And we've created a very powerful industry that's much more important than anything that we invest in. We invest in it, but really that was an industry that wasn't doing particularly well. I got involved with it a couple of years ago, and before the second term, I got involved before I decided to run. I only decided to run because I saw what was happening, and Biden was incompetent, and the administration was crooked and incompetent. And I was in Bitcoin then, not knowing if I was going to do it a third time. So it's become amazing. I mean, it's the jobs that it produces, and I notice more and more you pay in Bitcoin. I mean, people are saying it takes a lot of pressure off the dollar, and it's a great thing for our country. So I don't care about investing. You know, I have I have kids and they invest in different things. They do believe in it, but I'm president, and what I did do there is build an industry that's very important. And you know, if we didn't have it, China would. Okay.
So that's what Trump had to say about that. It's like he's saying it's a great thing for our country, and so didn't really break down more about it, but he said, I became a fan of crypto, and to me, it's an industry. And Trump said, I view it as an industry, and I'm president, and if we didn't have it, China would, or somebody else would, but most likely China. So he said that's good that we have it. That's why it's good for the US dollar, because again, Bitcoin is an industry in itself. It's outside of our traditional system, and anybody can use it. And if we weren't using it or taking advantage of it, China would. And that's what Trump was saying right there. But Trump emphasized the economic resilience and strategic importance of Bitcoin, pointing out its relative strength during recent market downturns. And we saw that. We saw like stocks took a big hit, like all the markets took a dip, but Bitcoin, it didn't do too bad. Sure, we touched like 98,000. I'm sure people were hoping to go down to 70,000, 50,000 like stocks did. But again, this was like all off of like Iran. Everyone's seeing the tensions going on right there. But that's what really happened. But because of that, we saw all the other markets kind of take a bigger dip than Bitcoin. So Trump did notice that. He said that, in fact, when the stock market went down recently, crypto and Bitcoin and all of that went down much less, and that anybody else is a group. He stated that we've created a very powerful industry, and that's much more important than anything else that we've invested in. Now, why does I keep saying the former president? The president talked about his personal involvement with Bitcoin before launching in his 2024 presidential campaign. He said, I got involved with it a couple of years ago, and before the second term, I got involved. Before I decided to run, I was in Bitcoin then. Not knowing if I was going to do a third time, he emphasized, referring to his decision to run again. And Trump also suggested that Bitcoin is becoming more mainstream. It's the jobs that it produces, and I notice more and more of you are paying in Bitcoin. I mean, people are saying it takes a lot of pressure off the dollar, and it's a great thing for our country. So I don't care about investing, you know? He concluded by inserting that under his leadership, the U.S. has built a critical industry in Bitcoin and crypto. He said they have kids and they invest in different things. They do believe in it, but I'm president, and what I did do there is build the industry, and that's very important. And you know, if we didn't have to, China would have. So again, it's like it's taking pressure off the US dollar, and it's like people are spending in it. Like we are going to Steak and Shake and spending Bitcoin on our meals for the day. It's just like more people are using it, and you don't have to use the dollar for it. So yeah, it gives us more options. The dollar can be used for things that it has to be, and the Bitcoin can be used for other things. And that's just how, I don't know, that's just how I think Trump's doing. I couldn't really break this down more. But what are you guys' thoughts on this? Like, what do you feel like Trump means by taking pressure off the dollar, which I do agree with, and then just like Is it good? Just let me know. Love to hear your thoughts. Now let's move on to some more adoption news. We're talking about Kazakhstan planning to establish a national crypto reserve using seized and state-mined assets. So here we go. So the government is ramping up its efforts to lay the groundwork to formally recognize and define digital assets. So Kazakhstan's national bank is actively developing a framework to establish a crypto asset reserve following a proposal from members of parliament, according to a Monday report by Kazinform, one of the country's leading new agencies. Now, the reserve could be managed by a specialized subsidiary focused on alternative investments. The bank chair, Timur Solomonez, said in a response at parliament that the national bank supports a prudent and institutionally sound approach to forming a state crypto reserve in accordance with the best international practices in managing sovereign funds, including sovereign crypto reserves, ensuring transparency in the accounting and custody of crypto assets. Now, transparency in the ownership of the crypto reserve and the sustainability of the state crypto reserve, noted Solomon. Now, Solomonov noted that the crypto reserve may be formed using seized and state-mined assets. Due to crypto's high volatility and security risks, the bank stresses that the reserve must be managed centrally and institutionally to ensure proper safekeeping. Now, given the risks and volatility associated with storing crypto assets, a key factor in effective structuring the management of the state crypto reserve is the centralized institutionalization of such management to ensure the safekeeping of crypto assets. Solomonov stated that adding the central bank is willing to work with lawmakers to craft a crypto reserves legal framework. Now, the deputy governor of the national bank, Barik Shapunkulov, said in May that the national bank had drafted legislative amendments to formally regulate digital assets in Kazakhstan. Now, the move follows a directive from the president and involves coordination with other state agencies. Now, the national bank also plans to launch a digital asset regulatory sandbox, enabling crypto and fintech firms to test new technologies and services under regulatory oversight, similar to frameworks in the UK, Singapore, and the UAE. In parallel, the government is developing a draft law on the use of artificial intelligence, which includes provisions for administrative and criminal penalties for unauthorized crypto transactions. Now, currently, crypto trading is permitted only on a licensed exchange operated within the Astana International Financial Center. Now, a number of crypto exchanges are licensed and fully regulated in Kazakhstan, including Binance and Bybit. Other platforms such as ATAIX, Eurasia, Caspian X, and Delta DA operate within the regular sandbox framework, so there's still more going there. But no, so Kazakhstan is planning to establish one that uses seized assets, kind of like how America's Bitcoin Trezor is point. Like, we're not selling any more of our seized assets; it's being loaned. So they're probably going to be taking some key aspects of America's Bitcoin reserve to follow suit with theirs as well. But that's Kazakhstan news, and guys, just adoptions happening all over the world. If it's whether it be strategy buying more, Metaplanet increasing theirs, the United States, Kazakhstan, the Asian countries out there, the whole world is getting on the Bitcoin bandwagon. And if you're still just waiting to see what happens and have no Bitcoin, maybe change your mind now. Just get a little bit. Put $20 in. Just have a little bit of Bitcoin, so that way you're not left with nothing. But the whole world is on this bandwagon. Maybe you should jump on too. Now, that is our Kazakhstan news. Now let's move on to some news about crypto cards outpacing banks and micro spending in Europe. So that's right. People are spending crypto using crypto cards rather than their traditional system. So crypto cards now rival banks for everyday purchases in Europe, with nearly half of the transactions under $12 and online spending far above the Eurozone average. So crypto cards are beating traditional banks in Europe when it comes to small purchases, with 45% of the crypto-linked card transactions under 10 euros, a category where cash has historically dominated. Now, according to a report by centralizedexchange.io, shared with Cointelegraph, the crypto card holders are showing spending patterns that mirror traditional bank card users, while also embracing online payments at a faster pace. Now, the report noted a 15% rise in newly ordered CEX.io crypto cards across Europe in 2025, signaling growing interest as more Europeans turn to digital assets for everyday payments. Furthermore, European Central Bank data shows 21% of all card payments across the Euro area are online. CEX.io's figures reveals crypto card users already conduct 40% of their transactions on the internet, nearly double the average. Now, crypto cards used for everyday spending. Now, the spending patterns show crypto card holders are using their cards for everyday purchases, according to the CEX.io data. So, groceries make up 59% of the purchases, near the ECB's 54% benchmark, while dining and bars account for 19% above the average for in person food and drink spending. Now, notably, the average crypto card transaction sits at 23.7 euros compared to the 33.6 euros for bank cards based in Q1 2025 per MasterCard's data. Now, here is that card spending chart, the distribution from other travel, clothing, financial. But here's a nice little pie chart just showcasing what people are spending their money on. Now, what we're seeing in Europe is the crypto card users aren't just experimenting with the new tech. They're showing us what everyday spending might look like in a truly cashless future, said Alexandra Kira, Vice President of Product Management at CEX.io. Now, with average card payments volumes rising 24% in just the last month, this shift is clearly gaining momentum, he added. The data further shows that stablecoins power 73% of transactions, with other major cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin, Ether, Litecoin, and Solana also being used for groceries, dining, and transportation. So this trend is consistent across other providers. For instance, Ubit reported strong spending on everyday essentials among European users, while Crypto.com noted similarly high volumes in online shopping transactions. Now, a lot of people are using these cards again because, well, what this has to do with Barclays? Because Barclays, the bank in the EU, would block crypto purchases on credit cards now. So I think maybe if you have the crypto, they're not going to be wanting to use this card anymore. So it's going to be like vice versa. But I guess this had to be mentioned again. So despite the surge in crypto card adoption, Barclays has announced plans to ban crypto transaction on its Barclays credit card. The bank cited fears of customers falling into unmanageable debt due to crypto markets volatility and highlighted the lack of investors' protections in the sector. Now, Barclays explained that crypto asset purchases carry no recourse through the Financial Ombudsman Service or the Financial Services Compensation Scheme if something goes wrong, leaving customers exposed out there. So nothing really to fear there. So that's what Barclays claims. It's like, oh, it's dangerous. We're trying to protect you, so we're going to just stop you from spending your money. So it's they stopped those card purchases last Friday. That was your deadline to make any purchase with a credit card to buy crypto through the Bax Bank. Was that with it? Barclays? What bank was that again? Barclays, yeah. So if you wanted to buy crypto using their card, you had up until last Friday to do so. But other than that, now they stopped those transactions from going through. But crypto cards are outpacing. So again, this kind of part has to do also with people just in Europe wanting to hold on to their crypto, because during the Bitcoin Ben show this morning, he was talking about Europe is buying Bitcoin as government takes their money. So I think there was like an announcement from like Simply Bitcoin. I forgot who was mentioning it. He was talking about like if your money in the bank, the government's going to take that. So to have more control of your finances, buy Bitcoin, put it in your own self-custody, have one of these crypto cards, and you can spend your money as if you would do anything. So we're going to see, I guarantee we're going to see more of these numbers and charts appear, showing that crypto cards are going to be used a lot more often than traditional systems. So I thought I would bring that up. Now let's move on to South Korea pauses CBD tests as stablecoin fever hits its bank. So yep, like I said earlier, CBDCs are kind of gone and on their way out. People are more focused on stablecoins. But the Bank of Korea reportedly suspended its central bank digital currency trials as participating banks are tempted by the government's promise to allow stablecoins. So South Korea's central bank has reportedly postponed the testing of a central bank digital currency as the country's government has increasingly aired support for local currency stablecoins. On Sunday, the Bank of Korea told banks taking part in a CBDC test that started in April that was temporarily suspended and postponed. The second round of tests slated for later this year, and local outlets of Yonhap News Agency and the Chosun Daily reported on Monday that a senior official at one of the 7 banks taking part in these tests told Yonhap that the central bank is waiting to see if the government's plans for stablecoins and how a CBDC would fit in with such of these tokens out there. So again, we have a newly elected president, Lee Jae-myung, campaigned on a list of crypto promises, including allowing for the issuance of stablecoins and crypto tokens that track the price of currencies such as the Korean won. And here is his checklist that he's made: the Digital Asset Basic Act, crypto investments for national pension, legislation of spot crypto ETFs, launch of a stablecoin, and then revisit banking rules for exchanges. So that's his path of what he wants to go do. But his party put forward a bill earlier this month that would allow companies to issue such tokens with minimum equity capital of 500 million Korean won. Now, the banks are unhappy with an expensive CBDC project. One senior banking official said that the second part of the CBDC trial was already on the verge of collapse, as the 7 participating banks became unhappy with the cost of taking part. Now, the participating banks reportedly told the Bank of Korea that the trial was too expensive and were unhappy that the central bank hadn't specified a commercialized plan for CBDCs at all. Now, the Bank of Korea floated moving the second half of the test from later this year to the first half of next year and could limit the number of financial institutions taking part. And an unnamed senior banking official told Yonhap that the first stage of the CBDC test involved 100,000 participants testing the payments using the central bank issued currency, which ran from April 1st to June 30th. And the second stage would expand the number of merchants and bring in remittances. Now, here is a 7-Eleven store in the city group of Gunpo. The convenience store chain was one of the merchants taking part in the CBDC trial. So, yeah, I remember that. They had a 7-Eleven and little grocery store outlets out there that were testing it out. But the Korean banks want stablecoins. The bank was reportedly wanted to focus on issuing their own stablecoin, seemingly as there is a clearer path to financially benefiting from such tokens. On Wednesday, it was reported that 8 South Korean banks would team up to launch a won-backed stablecoin by next year, and half of the banks that came together for the stablecoin, KB Kumin, Shinhan, Woori, Nonghyup, also took part in the first stage of the CBDC trials. Now, South Korea's fintech stocks see mixed opens about it. Shares in South Korean fintech companies fell on Monday after news of the CBDC suspension and banks' desire to focus on stablecoins. Shares in the mobile payments app Kakao Pay Corp were down 7% at 2 p.m. local time, while payment firms Hecto Finance was down 5%. And KB Financial Group, the parent company of KB Klum, saw a 0.8 bump, while Shinhan was up 1.6 so far today. So the stock side of this seemed more of a downside from this news. So it wasn't a positive aspect by them switching over from CBDCs to stablecoins. So, yeah, so just not really sure how to take that one. Just these are just facts and charts out there in front of us showcasing, well, this took place and now looks like the stocks aren't doing too good. So that's just all I'm really taking from this news article. But CBDCs are on pause now. And again, I'm pretty sure the rest of the world will get probably more news articles from whoever had CBDC programs in place. They were testing them out. I'm sure they'll probably be switching over to stable coins probably probably within this year, next year. We'll start seeing a lot more changes that way. And that's what I feel is going to be going on. Now, let's move on to our final news article of the afternoon, whenever you're watching this video. But here's a scam that took place. I'm not sure when this took place, but Russian mother and self-styled crypto expert has been jailed over a $23 million Bitcoin scam. So that's right. So be careful out there with scams. That's why we report on these. That's why we read these articles. So that way you're aware of what took place and hopefully you don't fall for them if you ever see a similar one come up. But a Moscow court sentenced Bitmama to 7 years in jail over a crypto scheme which saw millions move daily through informal deals. So a Russian mother who branded herself as the crypto expert has been sentenced to 7 years in prison by a Moscow court after orchestrating a ruthless pyramid scheme that defrauded investors of $23 million worth of Bitcoin in just 60 days. Now, this happened back in 2023, so it wasn't recent, but it's been taking place. Now, Valeria Fyakina from Simferopol posed as Bitmama, a legitimate crypto trader with global offices, promising clients that she could transfer their money abroad using crypto to circumvent the Western sanctions, according to Telegraph. Now, instead, Russian prosecutors said that she emptied her clients' accounts in what became one of the country's largest crypto fraud cases. The fraud occurred as Western sanctions tightened Russia's access to traditional banking, making crypto an attractive alternative for Russians seeking to move money abroad. Now, Moscow's Prisnensky District Court sentenced Fedyakina on June 24 to serve time in penal colony and ordered her to pay $23 million in compensations to her victims. Now, the prosecution had sought the maximum 10-year sentence under Russia's fraud statutes. Now, Russian crypto criminals use regulatory arbitrage, setting up entities in looser jurisdictions like parts of the UAE to mask Russian origins, move funds across the border, and exploit weak KYC/AML enforcement. Daddy Levitt, CEO of blockchain security firm Cybers, told Decrypt. Now, Fedyakina is 30 years old. She operated her business informally under the name BitMama and BitMama Finance, arranging deals in Moscow, luxury hotels, and funneling funds to the UAE via crypto wallets. Now, she did the crime under the guise of investing in her activities in the transportation and purchase and sale of oil and oil products, gold, and other minerals, a spokesperson for the investigation committee of Russia said. Now, BitMama reportedly told victims she would swap their money for digital currency in Dubai to avoid the sanctions, but the funds soon disappeared into her own crypto wallet stored in the UAE. Now, the indicted person's assistant told investigators that clients initially bought $2 to $3 million daily to the office, with amounts later reaching $15 million per day, local news outlets from Investia said. And Fedyakina was arrested on September 15, 2023, as she attempted a flee of Russia for the UAE. Now, despite being 6 months pregnant, she was detained and later gave birth in prison, remaining with her daughter in Moscow CISO number 6 detention center. It's like, oh, dang. She was pregnant when she was arrested. Now she gave birth in prison. Her daughter is in prison with her, I guess. Oh, dang. Don't do the crime, people. But this case represents a distinctly different pattern from state-backed crypto operations, according to Alice Frey, head of security and compliance of Outset PR. Now, the criminal schemes led Fedyakinas and are disorganized and opportunists. Frey told Decrypt they rely on funds from dispersed victims, often through scams, phishing, or false investment schemes. Now, these operations typically favor stablecoins like USDT or USDC, allowing for more predictable value retention and cross-border use. Frey noted that saying that fraudsters exploit regulatory gaps between jurisdictions, particularly leveraging the UAE's crypto-friendly environment. Now, let's talk about what's going on with Russia and crypto. Meanwhile, blockchain investigations have uncovered Russia's growing reliance on the cryptocurrency to fund intelligence operations. In recent, Reuters probe revealed how Russia's Federal Security Service used Bitcoin to pay teenage and untrained spies across Europe. Now, earlier this month, U.S. authorities also charged Ian Mosner with running a $500 million crypto fraud scheme, alleging he misled investors and funneled funds into Russian-linked markets while concealed ties that could violate international sanctions. So that's what really took place. So what happened with this scam, again, as we just read through this, was BitMama, as she would go by, she told people that because there were sanctions going on, you really couldn't move money around too easily. She promised these people that it's like, oh, send me the money, I'll convert to crypto for you, and then we can move it along. But in reality, she was just accepting the money, buying crypto in her Dubai account, and then she just had that money. And I guess they were getting millions in. And so that's what ultimately just took place. So she was just taking people's money, saying she was going to do something, but didn't do it. So again, when you're in crypto, to avoid the scam, just do everything yourself. Don't trust somebody else to do something for you. It's just if you want to move money over to a certain area, be sure you're handling it yourself, because if you're sending money to a third party, then you're trusting them to do their money. We don't know what their background is. So just do everything yourself, and that's a good way to stay safe in here. But that's everything in the news we got for you today. Again, lots of adoption going on. We got Kazakhstan, we got crypto cards, South Korea, stuff going on in Russia. Looks like people are feeling a little bit more neutral now, as our fear and greed index hits a 52. Last Friday, we were at a 47, 49. Bitcoin was touching $108,000 yesterday. We were pushing 109. So we had a lot of articles out there saying the next all-time high is coming. So when will we see it? Who knows? Maybe next week, maybe the week after. But looking at these numbers and just still the growth and everything, yeah, Bitcoin still has tons of volume. I still feel Bitcoin can double from where it's at. So just keep stacking those sats, people, and take custody of your own crypto so that way you don't trust anybody else. But that's it. It's a nice rainy day here in Sarasota, Florida. That's right, hurricane season is coming. So we got some rain going on today. Hope it's nice, sunny, and clear where you're at. Hope you enjoy the day. Hope you're staying safe. And I will see you again tomorrow with more crypto news. So take care. Peace. Love you. Bye.
In a world where your data is constantly under attack, one company stands for your digital freedom. Introducing Calyx Solutions, your gateway to ultimate online privacy and secure cryptocurrency trading. Meet the Liberty Laptop. With its modified OS and advanced tracking prevention, it's your shield against surveillance. Access restricted areas, use recommended security software, and browse with confidence. Your digital footprint? Virtually non-existent. For the crypto pros, we present the Crypto Laptop. Pre-configured on premium hardware for secure trading. Optimized for your favorite wallets and exchanges, it's the fortress your digital assets deserve. Both laptops come with expert individual training and support. You're never alone in your journey to digital empowerment. At Calyx Solutions, we put you in control. No more worrying about data breaches or compromised transactions. Ready to join the revolution? Visit calyxsolutions.io and choose your perfect laptop today. Plus, become an affiliate and earn while sharing the power of digital freedom. Calyx Solutions. Unlock your digital freedom. Give us a call or text at 702-845-8276 or visit us directly at calyxsolutions.io.